Have you ever thought about becoming a car mechanic and fantasized about fusing yourself with an exhaust pipe? Would you also want to use that exhaust pipe to snipe aliens down and commit xenocide? It is just like genocide, except instead of being called a war criminal, they will give you medals instead, just because you farted in the general direction of sentient alien mechanisms. I cannot make this dream a reality, but I can show you a game which lets you live it. Warhammer Mechanicus. You are sent as a ship full of force from Adeptus Mechanicus to find alien relics and technology from Silva Tenebris. During your exploration, you find out about Necron Overlord Cesaragon's internet search history, and he starts to awaken the whole Necron army to stop you from sharing his furry fetish with the Imperium of Men. And now, it is up to your ship full of mechanics to stop the awakening of the alien force. Before I continue, let me tell you about Adeptus Mechanicus very briefly. Imagine this, a dude looking at his dishwasher and saying, "Damn, if only this dishwasher was in place instead of my torso, I could deflect bullets." Then suddenly, his Samsung smart fridge tells him, "Just do it, bro." And suddenly, they are a faction, believing in the machine god, which is the voice that told the guy to do it. They replace their body parts with machines, thinking their flesh is inferior. Not gonna lie though, they low-key making sense. If you were getting robbed, and they threaten you with a gun, will you really care if all of your body is covered with metal? Anyway, let's get to the game. Mechanicus is a turn-based tactical RPG that requires careful planning because you are on a timer. On the top left of the mission select screen, you will see a bar. It indicates the army is awakening. You need to do whatever you can to get stronger before the final battle, or before the bar fills up. So, the main screen. Here, you can check out which missions you can undertake, check out the tech you unlocked, or customize your cohort. There are two categories of units you can send on missions: tech priests and troops, or as I like to call them, slaves and slave masters. Don't be fooled by this though, because just like in chess, if you underestimate the pawn, you will have a bad time. Unlike slaves, you can customize your slave masters. Equipment you choose will define tech priest's abilities. All of the equipments require attachment slots. Naturally, they need more RAM to make everything work. You get attachment slots by leveling your tech priest up in the disciplines page. You have 7 types to choose from, and you can multi-discipline them, meaning that you can have a full-spec politician, and you also can make him a hippie. Let me go through them all. Explorator. Melee DPS. You can say it's melee DPS skill tree, but its last skill is utter garbage, which is the only melee focused thing in it. Don't maximize this one. Secutor. Commander. Its skills are mostly about troops, makes them stronger and easier to summon. This one will be very important. I will get to that. Tech Auxilium. Buffer. Mainly tries to buff your tech priests. Again, this one also will be important. Lex Mechanic. Resource Manager. Tries to keep your cognition up. Cognition is the resource you need to use equipments during fights, and they also can be used to get extra movement. Engine Seer. Healer. That is it. It's just healer. Having one can be useful for you to manage your cash, because at the end of a mission, if your tech priests are hurt, it costs to repair them. 10 Blackstone per HP. We can't afford that. Dominus. Ranged DPS. Unlike Explorator, it is actually usable, because you can equip 2 ranged weapons and there are a lot to choose from. And lastly, the DLC discipline. Xenorite. Masochist. Lesser HP they have, more crit chance they get. Also, attacking deals damage to themselves, so you can get the crit buff yourself. I have no footage for it, because it sounded kinda useless, even if it has a free revive as the last skill. Also, while I'm in this section, let me tell you about stats. You gain no stats from leveling up. Every HP or armor boost you get are from your equipments. Between the skills of the disciplines, you also have slots you can level up, which gives you an equipment instead of a skill. You choose which part you will get, but these equipments have the final say to your stat boosts. What kind of a tactical super mechanic or an absolute retard to make is all up to your heart's desires. I mentioned Blackstone. It is the currency of this game. You get it by clearing missions and scanning consoles. It is used for leveling, repairing after every mission, and purchasing troops. If you manage to keep your troops alive, they return some of the Blackstone that was paid. You have 6 characters in the mission area you can choose. Choosing one will give you mission details and what kind of enemies you will see during it. These are the nerd that has the best type of dialogue in the game, the racist pope that almost literally quotes a holy book verse in every dialogue he gets, obligatory soldiers' lives are important preacher, Factorio player, predator, and the communist. Check all of them and go for the one that you like its reward the most. You will need them. But if you want my honest opinion, prioritize missions of Kepra. Her missions give you extra unit rewards, be it extra slaves or masters. When you choose a mission, you get to the preparation screen. Here, you choose your team, up to a limited amount of slots, and then launch. During missions, you will see 2 types of screens, map overview and battle. In map overview, you explore rooms and your main task is to get to the mission icon. Exploring fully is optional. When you go into a room, you see a Necron awakening level rise by 2 bars. During battle, every round, it goes up by 1 as well. However, going back to the rooms you already visited doesn't make the counter go up, so you are free to go back and change directions. As the level gets higher, Necrons gain more advantage during fights. There are 3 ways to lower the counter. 1. Consoles you get Blackstones from. If you destroy them, Awakening lowers by 2 bars. 2. Necron encounters. Fights that aren't the main quest, when get completed, lower the Awakening by 4 or 5 bars. 3. Gacha. In rooms with exclamation marks, you will be given 3 choices. You can know what these do. They are random, and after seeing this, I actually uninstalled the game. Then I read there's a helpful option. Now I want all of you to go to the difficult settings and enable enhanced exploration. And suddenly, the game is fun again. Enhanced exploration lets you see what the choices affect. Don't get me wrong, I am okay with getting negative effects, but I rather know which gambling table I'm sitting in front. I wouldn't want to call out Uno when playing Russian roulette. You also have glyphs. At first, are completely random, but more you use them, clearer their effects being positive or negative become. If they turn green, it is a positive effect. If it's red, then it's negative. Unlike the event rooms, you can choose not to use glyphs and just go to another room. When a fight starts, you need to set up where your tech priests will start the fight. And if you have cognition points available, you can call in your troops to your starting area. When you are ready, you start the fight. Compared to the other games, Mechanicus doesn't have a hit chance mechanic, which make me thank the devs. Instead, you need to learn about every unit to see the damage you do. Every tech priest has a service call that can be sent on relics to get a cognition point, or be sent on enemies to reveal their stats. There are 3 stats you will see, health and 2 armor types. Every weapon deals either physical, energy or true damage. So at least have some variety on your tech priests. And know that there is no way for you to know your enemy's damage range, or even the attack range. You simply need to get used to eyeballing it. You can just start attacking randomly, or be sure which damage can deal with the enemy's best. Every weapon you can find has a special attack called Machine Spirit. You see, Adeptus Mechanicus believes that every machine has a soul inside it, which make them work. So, if a machine stops working, it is because its soul left the body. So, if you remember your old laptop with Windows Vista that stopped working after you infected it with countless viruses while searching for furry inflation hentai, it did not break. It fucking died. Of cringe. Anyway, every attack you make with a weapon charges it by 1 bar. Every weapon has a different amount of bar requirement. When they get filled, next attack will be a Machine Spirit attack. Effects of Machine Spirit attack changes from weapon to weapon. It can boost damage, it can lower the cost to use, it can lower armor, etc. One more thing to mention about your tools is Canticles. Canticles are special effects that you can use during your missions. Unlike your testicles, that can be used several times in a row, Canticles can only be used once per mission. They get unlocked via achievement-like system. All of them are useful, but some of them are clearly more useful than others. Be sure to use your canticles and machine spirit attacks at right times. Now, let me talk about Necrons. Basically, tin cans that work with monster energy. You don't know what monster energy is made out of either, so you cannot say I'm wrong. One day, they awaken suddenly and try to take over the whole universe. Humans don't know where they came from, and they were already buried beneath several sectors. Also, a very small, tiny bit of a detail. They are immortal. After you deplete their HP, they, let's say, turn off for some turns. And you need to deal any damage one more time to truly beat them. Even then, they just teleport away, meaning that you did not kill them. Fair and balanced lore-wise, I swear. Also, when I said any damage, that counts no damage as well. Let's say one of the Necrons fell down and has a 3 physical armor. Hitting them with a weapon that deals 1 to 2 physical damage still removes them from the fight. And lastly, if you deal finishing blow as a crit, they straight up just disappear and get ragdoll properties. It sometimes become funny. Also, while all of your characters are speaking in binary, Necrons only use language that can only be made by xenomorph aliens. English.
I told you. I warned you. This world is ours.
Now, I will tell you what every enemy does. Necron Warrior. Most basic unit. Has a ranged attack and quite weak. You won't have much problem dealing with these ones. Necron Immortal. It is just Necron Warrior, but with a bigger cock. I will only say this. Everybody gangsta until Necron Immortal starts glowing. In true Ohio fashion, they wear human skin. They are quite weak and don't have armor, but when they appear, there are usually a lot of them. Also, when you attack a flayed one, all of the flayed ones in the map get aggroed into the attacker. Before the aggro, they also move less. Any enemy that looks like a shrimp or a bug has acid attack that deals damage every turn, but they cannot resurrect. Acanthroid can remove cognition points from relics. Spider can give birth and buff enemies with energy armor. One issue with the spider that almost made this review impossible was this unit, after summoning scarabs, would lock the game up, with nothing happening and no clicks working, not even the menus. Reason that happened to me was I decided to play in an older patch, because of reasons unshareable. So I had to, let's say, update my game to get it work. For people who may want to try to play in older patches, be sure to get a 1.4 patch. Wraith cannot get its stats to be shown. Deathmark, Sniper, has a very long range. It teleports to random places each turn and activates Overwatch. If any of your units gets into its visible area, they get shot. If you trigger it, Overwatch gets removed. Its damage is high, but doesn't have much HP. Also, when gets hit by a weapon, teleports away like a little bitch and activates Overwatch again. In one of the maps, he can look like he is sniping from a building, because for some reason, in that specific map, there is a walkable area outside the normal terrain. Destroyer. Necron Immortal, but bigger. Heavy Destroyer. Destroyer, but with bigger horse cock. Needs 2 turns to attack. Cryptic. Healer. Repairs nearby units. If repairs anyone that is down, also reanimates them. Vanguard. Has a special ability which makes it swap places with another Necron that's about to be attacked. Sometimes takes Necrons and teleports away together as well. Triarch Praetorian. There are 2 types, melee and ranged. These guys have jetpacks, which lets them move to wherever they want. They will always hit you on their turn. Lich Guard. Honestly, the only unit that I hated to see during my whole gameplay. They get movement and counterattack every time they are attacked. This wouldn't be a problem, but they come with a 2 to 7 or a 7 to 2 armor stat, meaning that they might not get damaged by any stray hits at all, and every time you attack with a melee weapon, it will attack back. It also can rage after its HP gets lower than health. which boosts its movement and damage. Care for these dudes every single time. And lastly, Necron Lord. You can call them mini-bosses. They heal and revive every Necron in the area every turn. And they also can create walls to make it harder for you to move. Their HP and damage is high, so do your best to burst them. There also are main bosses. They get unlocked after you reach certain thresholds of awakening. You also unlock the ending mission fairly early in the game. The catch is that, if you don't beat other bosses first, ones that you didn't beat will also be in the final boss mission. If your awakening level lets you, just clear them out one by one. You also will have to fight against other tech priests that gone rogue if you have the Heretic DLC. They are just like you, so there is not much to talk about them. In every fight, you will need to clear battle missions. Usually there will be 2 missions to clear, like first scan a console and then kill all enemies. If the first mission you get is kill all enemies, it may be a single mission fight. Making all units down also counts as killing all enemies, and if it is the last mission, you just win the fight. Also, I forgot to mention that every cognition point you didn't collect in the area will automatically be collected when you win a fight. Escape can get a bit rushed too if one of your tech priests decides to feel like a gamer. Don't forget this though. If your first mission is escaping, it is never the end of the fight, and there will be another mission. Now that I explained everything gameplay wise, let's get to the fun part. I will now tell you how to be successful. After this training program, your tech priests will transform from incels that know how to code to incels that know how to code and commit genocide. In early game, your tech priests will be quite weak. You will have to give a melee weapon to every tech priest you have and abuse opportunity attacks. In this game, any character that has a ranged weapon cannot attack if they are in melee range with an enemy. You just put your units near the ranged enemies and they are now forced to move away, which triggers the opportunity attack. Keep in mind that enemies also can use opportunity attacks. But if they don't have a melee weapon, their opportunity attacks will hit like 1 or 2, unless they crit of course. This is honestly the only thing I can give you about early game. But before explaining the real fun part, I will just say this. In my whole gaming life, I have never seen a difficulty curve that disappears. It may sound funny, but hear me out. Your discipline tree is actually a cheat table, or even a cheat engine. You remember those Castellan robots that cost 5 cognition to summon? What if you made them cost 1, and also were allowed to summon them anywhere on the map? Or the Canticles that can only be used once. Just be able to use them again? Combination of these 2 things make the game very trivial. Here is what you will do. Get yourself a Lex Mechanic for easy cognition supply. Then get a maxed Secutor and take Auxilium. After you unlock the Castellan robot, it is over. Might as well watch the credits. Because that Castellan robot, which deals 5 to 10 AoE damage, will now deal something around 38. To do this, you need to get specific Canticles. Canticle of the Iron Soul, Taming the Machine Spirit, and Litany of Electromancer. Yes, your Canticles also work on troops. They also get Machine Spirit attacks as well. You also will require the Cognitive Canister tool. It will make a troop unit have increased crit chance and make them deal more damage. You will also require Cognition Mechadendrite. It lets you generate cognition from any enemy unit. This also counts downed units, and they don't disappear after using the tool. And you can infinitely use the tool on the same enemy. Pick whichever highest level you have it unlocked. After seeing this, I decided to build another Secutor. And only thing I can say is that I actually don't know what bosses do in this game. Whenever I fought one, they died in round 1. And it is quite the funniest thing imaginable in this game. You will want to get these skills on every tech priest you have. Escape and both Angered Spirit skills in 2 trees. Escape lets everyone move freely. and Anger Spirit at total gives you 4+ damage on Machine Spirit attacks. My 1 to 2 true damage ranged weapon, which is free to use, deals 5 to 6 true damage during Machine Spirit attacks. You might say, but how will we keep on the Machine Spirit? Canticle can only be used once, even with the free Canticle skill. My friend, this is the funny part. If you do what I just told you to do, almost all of your fights will be over in one round. I am not kidding, these are my turn counts. Also, with the benefit of getting Explorator first skill, every single enemy you pass through will have their stats revealed. With the Cognition Mechadendrite, you will never run out of movement anyway, so you can just take a stroll around them to see their private information, just because they forgot to use VPN. If only I had a VPN sponsor, it would be the time to put it here. Also, in this build, if you manage to get one Tech Priest to become both a Secutor and Tech Auxilium, everything will be deadlier. Because now, you can cast that sweet plus 12 damage twice, without waiting for a free cantrip. But, for a single target high priority targets, just in case, get a Dominus Tech Priest as well. I made mine hit only single targets, but with tools and such, he could deal around 25 to 30 damage. You might think final boss was different. That is cute. While searching around for the missing items over the internet, I learned that this game actually had a minimum awakening level first on the missions. Apparently, devs patched it out to be not like that. So you cannot say I abused the game, because I set it to very hard, and this is what devs intended. I completed every mission. I don't know when this gets unlocked, but in any part of the game, when you hold spacebar, you get an analyzing kind of view. It is mainly used in battles to see enemy stats, but if you do it in your main screen, you also see a hidden questline. There are 7 missions to complete, with all 6 of them being the same. Get near to the relic and then kill all enemies. 7th mission, however, actually is a boss fight. And you may guess how strong a secret boss can be. Answer is, it took me more than one turn this time. Not because the boss is hard, because I made a misplay, and it took me 2 turns to clear the boss. Talk about a close call. Be sure to complete this boss as early as you can, because you get a special canticle from it, which actually can be useful during early game. For the score, I give it a Castellan Robot out of 10 Necrons. I totally recommend playing it. If you are an individual that decides to use their thinking function, one playthrough is enough for you to have all the fun. Because every tactic is good, as long as the enemy is dead. Don't expect to unlock every upgrade though, but every item can be unlocked. There will be more videos to come, so be expectant. Thank you all for watching, have a great Swole Tech Priest day.